Happy New Year, sis. Welcome back to another video. So we are in a new year, sis, and I don't know about you, but we need to get our makeup game up to par. This year, we are not slacking. We're learning everything we need to learn about makeup. Now, I know the Christmas season and everything just passed, so our bank accounts are really slim right now. So I make sure to use a very affordable products to show you guys a step-by-step makeup routine. So I showed you guys how to achieve this very simple, everyday, full face of makeup. I went step by step, all that good stuff. So if you're interested, then I encourage you to continue watching. All right, sis, so I've already done my eyebrows. So what I did was use a brow gel. So one of my favorite brow gels and my go-to right now is my e.l.f. Brow Lift. So all I did was use this brow gel to really flatten my brows and just stick them in place. I do have a lot of brow hairs to work with, so that's why I love using a brow gel. It just allows my brows to be really tamed and in place. On top of using the brow gel, I do go in with a brow pencil. So today I did use my CoverGirl Clean Fresh Brow liner. I am in the shade Black Brown, and what I did is just use this to pencil in any of the areas that were sparse, that didn't have much hair going on, and kind of create a shape for my brows. So that's pretty much what I did for my brows. Brows is very unique to everyone, so whatever you have to do for your brows, I would recommend doing it first before anything. All right, so the first thing is your primer. So you definitely want to have a primer in your makeup kit. Now, what is a primer? A primer acts as your base. So this is the first and number one thing that you need to apply on your skin, of course, after your skincare. This is going to create that barrier between your skin and the makeup. So you don't want to go directly on your skin with makeup. It's going to be causing fine lines, wrinkles. It's going to seep into your skin. I always feel like a primer is just that base. At least in my head, it's just going to create that barrier between my skin and the makeup. So there are different types of primers. If you are oily skin, you definitely want to use a primer that is mattifying. So this is going to make sure that it controls your oil so that you're not getting oily throughout the day. If you are dry skin, you do want to grab something that is hydrating. This is just going to allow your skin to be very plumped, very hydrated, especially when you're going to be applying, powders on your skin. You just want to make sure that your base is hydrated. So yeah, it really depends on your skin type. So make sure that you choose a primer that is for your skin type. And then this is honestly my current favorite. This is the LA Girl Pro Prep High Definition Smoothing Primer. So this is just going to help with texture. If you're someone who has a lot of fine lines, large pores, things like that, this is just going to help allow your makeup to look really smooth on the skin. So I am going to be using this one today. And I like to apply this primer in my T-zone. I feel like those areas for me are like my problem areas. These are the areas that I see I get a lot of makeup issues, like fine lines, wrinkles, oily skin, things like that. So I personally like to focus my primer in my T-zone, but you are open to use your primer all over your face. All right, so now we can move on to our foundation. So what is a foundation? A foundation is going to help conceal and give you a very even complexion. So if you're someone who suffers with dark marks, acne marks, things of that sort, a foundation is just going to give you a really even canvas. So this is why it's very important to learn your skin type, your skin tone, and your skin undertone. I do have a detailed video on how to learn all of those things. So if you haven't checked that out as of yet, I'll leave it on the screen above so that you can check it out, or you can check it out in my description box below. So for someone who has dry skin, you are really good to pick up a foundation that is luminous or hydrating. These are foundations you want to pick up. If you are someone who is oily skin, you want to stick to foundations that are mattifying. So it's usually going to claim mattifying foundation. Mattifying is going to just control your oils. If you are someone who has sensitive skin, you want to choose something that is in the clean makeup category where it's more safer for the skin. You don't want to use anything that has too much ingredients that just don't work well with your sensitive skin. So just making sure to learn your skin is honestly my number one tip. So an OG foundation that I love is the Maybelline Fit Me foundations. Now they make it super easy to choose which foundation will work for you. They do have a matte and poreless formula, and they do have a luminous hydrating formula. So depending on your skin type, you can choose which one works for you. So for me, I know I suffer with a lot of pores and oily skin, so I did pick up the Matte and Poreless foundation. I am in the shade 360. So with foundation, I like to work in sections. I like to just really be careful with how much foundation I'm putting on my skin, so I avoid putting the foundation directly on my skin from the product. I like to start with putting the foundation on the back of my hand. So whether you have a pump product or you pour, make sure to start with the back of your hand. The back of your hand will act as your kind of makeup palette so that you can, you know, kind of control how much products you're putting on your face. So with this, the only thing about this is that it isn't a pump, so you definitely want to be careful with how much you use from this. So I'm just gonna pour some on the back of my hand. So I put just about this much on the back of my hand. We're gonna start with a little. Honestly, you don't need to go in with too much. A little goes a long way, but you can always build up your foundation if you want. So when it comes to the tools on how you apply your foundation, you can use either a brush or a beauty blender. So I do have both here to show you. So this is my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I really like using this for my foundations. You do want to pick up something that is dense. This is what's going to help stipple in that foundation. It's going to give you an even base. It's going to give you a flawless look. So you definitely want something that is dense and easy to blend out. If you're going to be using a sponge, you definitely want to make sure that your sponge is damp. So wring it through as much as you can. I did this already, so my sponge is ready to go. And this is just going to help blend out your foundation. So I'm going to show you guys both sides and how I use both tools. So for the brush, what I use on the back of my hand, we're just going to dip into that foundation, kind of warm it on the back of my hand like this. And then we want to work on the outer perimeter of our skin. So I'm just going to start dabbing this in. And what you want to do is tap it into your skin. You don't want to be swiping. This is going to cause streaks in your foundation. So just go in with stippling motions. This is a makeup term, and this is just what's going to give you a really even foundation base. And you don't want to forget your neck. Your neck does act as part of your face, so make sure that you're always getting your neck as well. So you guys see that I did work on this section. I'm just gonna put a bit of the extra that I had on my brush on my forehead as well. And then you don't need to worry about putting any foundation underneath your eyes. This is reserved for your concealer. So I try to use less product underneath my eyes. The less product that you use, the less creasing you're going to deal with. So make sure that you avoid putting any foundation directly underneath your eyes. All right, so this is one layer of that foundation. I'm going to show you guys the other side. And as you guys could see, I have a really good match with my foundation. It honestly does not look like I did too much to my skin. This is what I mean in terms of finding a foundation that is your perfect match. This is what's going to set the tone for the rest of your makeup. All right, so on this side, we're going to use a sponge. So I'm going to do the same thing and just apply a bit to the back of my hand. And when it comes to using your sponge, I would always recommend using dots on your face. You don't want to go directly into that foundation with your sponge. The sponge is going to soak up all of that product, and we already know that just on basic science. A sponge does what it does. It soaks up products. So you want to make sure that you're just applying your foundation on your face in little dots, and this is just going to also help you control how much you're putting on your skin. So just like that, I applied a few dots, and then I'm going to take the butt end of the beauty sponge, so just the bottom part where it's usually flat, and we're just going to do the same thing and just dab that foundation into the skin. Now with a beauty sponge, you're not going to get as much full coverage as you would using a brush, and that is again because you're using a sponge. A sponge is going to be soaking up a lot of the pigments and the coverage on your skin. So if you are going for a more natural makeup look, then of course using a sponge is like perfect. But if you are going for a more full coverage look and you want to cover any dark spots or hyperpigmentation that you have, going in with a brush will give you a more full coverage look. So I'm going to go in with one more layer for this side, just because like I said, it's not going to give the full coverage like I did on this side. So I'm just going to apply one more layer. And then whatever is remaining on the brush, you can go over your nose. Your nose is an area where you don't need to put too much foundation as well. So try to use as little foundation as you can for your nose. All right, so just like that, we have our base. So this is what we mean as your base. So it's giving you a very even, natural complexion. So making sure that you choose a foundation that is your exact skin tone is like what's crucial for this step. All right, so now we're ready to move on to the concealer. So what is a concealer? So concealer is going to conceal. It's going to cover any dark spots that you have in little areas. So concealer is really good for concealing underneath your eyes. So if you're someone who has a lot of dark circles or even bags underneath your eyes, a concealer is going to help conceal those and just allow them to be very smooth and one even skin tone. Also, if you do suffer with little acne marks or scars on your skin, using concealer helps to conceal those as well. So you can definitely use a concealer before your foundation to do a bit of spot correcting, or you can use it after. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You can use them either or. It is also used to highlight. So when it comes to doing a full face, like I'm showing you guys today, a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your complexion is going to help brighten and just bring back the natural highlights to your skin. So today I am going to be using the concealer to brighten and highlight my face. So I'm going to show you guys an example. I do have the L'Oreal True Match Serum Concealers, and I do have them in 2 shades. So this is what I mean by 2 to 3 shades lighter. So this one would be my perfect match. This is what I'd use if I want more of just a natural concealer, something to just give me an even base underneath my eyes or just to spot correct. I'd use something that is my perfect match. And then I would go about 2 to 3 shades lighter to get my highlighting shades. So this one is in the shade N10 and this one's in the shade NA. So that's about 2 shades lighter. So this is what I mean by 2 to 3 shades lighter. So when it comes to highlighting your face, you want to make sure that you're highlighting the areas that the light hits. So these are common areas. Everyone should be highlighting these specific areas. So it would be your forehead, underneath your eyes, your cupid's bow, and your chin. Technically your T-zone. So you want to make sure that you're highlighting those areas. A light is going to reflect the areas that you want to highlight. So I do have my ring light in front of me, and this is showing me the areas on my skin that the light hits. So again, right here, you could see the little bit of lighting right here on my forehead, all underneath my eyes, my cupid's bow, and my chin. So I'm going to go in with this concealer today. Now, when it comes to concealers for beginners, I always recommend working in sections. This is just going to help you use less product, really take your time with blending if you need the extra time with blending. It's just easier to work in sections for beginners. So I'm going to work in sections today, and we're going to work on the under eyes first. So I'm going to apply this to the inner corner. Now, when it comes to the tools for your concealer, you can either go in with your sponge. So with your sponge, you'd want to use the tip. This is just going to help you blend out that concealer a little better. Or you can go in with a concealer brush. So I do have my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush today, and this is pretty much just a mini foundation. It's small, but it's dense. So you always want to make sure that you're using something that's dense. This is just going to help blend out your concealer. So today I'm actually going to use the brush. Actually, I'll show you both. I'll show you both sides and how to use them. So on this side, we'll use the brush. And what you want to do is just start stippling in. Stippling is going to be the word of today, just because that is how you're going to blend out your concealer. So you always want to start with blending out the edges first of that concealer and then work your way in the inner corner. And you do want to apply some on the sides of your nose. This is just going to help with your nose contour later on. But all you want to do is just stipple that concealer into your skin. Very simple, very easy. You guys saw that in real time. So with your beauty sponge, you want to kind of pinch the tip. This is just going to allow you to really get underneath your eyes and blend out that concealer. So again, we're going to start by blending out the edges and then work our way in. Now, this specific concealer I use today is a serum concealer, so it's a lot more thinner. It's not full coverage, and I think I want a bit more coverage underneath my eyes. So I'm just going to put one more layer of this concealer. This is definitely optional. You do not need to do this step, but I'm going to apply just a little bit under my eyes. And I'm going to take my brush and just blend it out again. All right, so once you've done your under eyes, you can now move on to the other areas. So that's my forehead here, and you can see literally where my ring light is hitting. So it's right here where you want to apply that concealer down the bridge of your nose, your cupid's bow, and your chin. I'm just gonna put a little bit right in the center above my brows, down my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. I'm just gonna use my brush to blend the rest out. When it comes to your nose contour, you just want to make sure that you're keeping that concealer just straight in the middle. You don't want it to go here or here. You want it straight in the middle. Everything we're doing here is going to help with your nose contour. And when it comes to your forehead concealer, you want to just make sure you're keeping that concealer right in the middle here. It does not need to go anywhere further on your forehead. All right, so just like that, we brought back the natural highlights to our skin. Before we move on to the next step, you want to make sure that you're blending out all the harsh lines, making sure that everything honestly looks seamless and blends well together. So you either go back in with your sponge, the butt end where you use the foundation, or your brush, and just go over all the edges of that concealer and your foundation. This is just going to make sure that everything blends. There's no harsh lines. You really want your skin to still look like skin. All right, so now we can move on to our contour. So what is a contour? A contour is going to bring back the shadows to your skin. So like I said, once you put on foundation, you are getting rid of your highlights, you're getting rid of your natural contours to your skin. So contour is going to bring all of that back. So when we talk about contour, we're talking about the perimeter or the outer portion of our face. So these are essentially the areas that the light doesn't hit. So your forehead, your cheekbones, your jawline, and also the sides of your nose. These are considered areas that you want to contour. So when it comes to a full face of makeup, we're reconstructing our face. So really think of it that way, like you're bringing back the contours and all of that stuff to your skin. So I do have two products here, two drugstore products. I have the CoverGirl True Blend Skin Enhancer Contour Balm, and this one is more of a newer product. I actually haven't used it, so I think I want to use it in today's video. And then I also do have the NYX Wonder Stick. This is one of my favorite contour sticks. This is in the shade Deep. And when it comes to contour, you want to make sure that you're grabbing a shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker. So just like our highlighting concealer, you want to make sure that your contour is 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation shade. So this is what's going to give you the contours and just bring back the natural contours to your skin. So like I said, I'm going to use the CoverGirl Contour Balm, and the areas that you want to contour is your cheekbones, your forehead, your jawline, and the sides of your nose. When it comes to your cheekbones, you do not need to put a lot of product. You don't need to be drawing a whole line all the way to your mouth. That is just not what you need to do. So I always recommend finding the tip of your ears, like the top of your ears, and just creating a short line going down. So just like this. So just create a small line just like that. And then for your forehead, you just want to apply maybe about 3 lines on your forehead and then your jawline as well. And then taking the same foundation brush, you can definitely reuse your foundation brush for your contour, or you can go in with the butt end of your beauty sponge as well. Either or works. You do want to start just dabbing that in, and this is just going to bring back some shadows to your skin. Now this contour stick is a bit lighter than I thought, but it does give me a really subtle contour, which is good, especially if you're going for a natural look. And when it comes to blending out your jawline, you want to make sure that you just keep the product right where your jawline is. You don't need to make it go down or up onto your skin. And then when it comes to your forehead, you just want to blend it outwards towards your temple or into your hairline. So you guys essentially see what the contour did. It just brought back some shadows to my skin and kind of gave me some dimension. And then for your nose, you just want to create a small line going down the side. So this is going to complete your nose contour. And then the tool that I like to use is my angled brush. So I get asked a lot of times where I got this. This I got from Quo. So it is a Canadian brand, but I do believe there is a dupe, or not a dupe, another version of this in the Morphe, which I'll leave in the comment section below for you guys to check out. All it is an angled brush. This is just going to help me blend out my nose contour. And you just want to keep it right on the sides. As you can see, I just completed my nose contour. All right, so before I move on to the powders to just set all of this in place, I'm gonna move back on to my concealer and just shape up my brows and conceal my eyelids. So you guys could see that my eyelids are pretty dark right now and my brows can use some shaping up. So I'm gonna take my L'Oreal concealer and a flat brush. So anything that's flat, this is just gonna help you shape your brows so that it gives you a more sharper look. And what I do is just apply some to the brush and then start tracing out the brows. And then taking the concealer brush that I used earlier, we're just going to blend this out. And all I'm doing is blending it towards my eyelids because we're going to be concealing that as well. I'm just going to put a bit of that concealer on the lids and blend that out. All right guys, so just like that, we've applied all of our cream products. So now we're ready to move on to some setting powder. All right, so what is a setting powder used for? So a setting powder is going to set all of your highlighted areas. So these are the areas that we use that concealer. This is just going to make sure that your makeup does not budge and that everything is set. When you do go in with liquids or cream products, it is essential to set your makeup with a setting powder. So when it comes to setting powders, a really good setting powder is anything translucent. So depending on your skin type, translucent deep is something I would recommend for anyone from medium, dark, or deep skin tones would really love a translucent, medium, deep setting powder. So I have two drugstore makeup products that I like to interchange between. So that's either the Black Radiance True Complexion Loose Setting Powder. This is in the shade Honeymoon, and this is essentially a medium deep setting powder. Or there is the CoverGirl Clean Invisible Loose Setting Powder, and this is in the shade Translucent Deep. So I am going to go in with my Black Radiance. If you have been watching my videos, you know this is a go-to. I like to go in with a velour puff. So this is the Wander Beauty Velour Puff. This is what I'm going to be using just to apply that powder and just set everything in place. You can also go in with your damp beauty sponge. So if you are going to be using this, go in with the pointed area as well. And this is just going to allow you to set that as well. You can get these on Amazon for like 10 bucks, a pack of 6 or 8, I believe. I'm not sure the amount, but very affordable. You can also wash them and reuse them. So definitely something to invest in for your makeup kit. So I'm going to dip into that powder. And what I'm going to do is take the excess of that powder off on the back of my hand. This is just going to help me not apply too much powder to my face. I can always go back in and add more if I want. And then before going in with that powder, I'm just going to take my concealer brush and blend out my concealer. Make sure that I'm not setting any creases. The last thing you want to do is go in with your powder on top of creases. Make sure that you're blending that out before going in with that powder. And then what you want to do is just press that powder into your skin, just like that. Just follow the areas that you applied your concealer. And as you can see, that gave me a really subtle under eye look. We set it. You can physically see the difference between both eyes. So that is essentially what a setting powder is going to do. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the rest of the areas that we use the highlighting concealer. You also want to put some on your eyelids and underneath your brows, my forehead as well, down the bridge of my nose. All right, so just like that, you physically see that we've powdered the skin. So you definitely want to make sure that you're including this step when you're going in with a full face of makeup. This is just going to ensure that the creams and the liquids that you've applied on your face is going to stay put. So next we're going to go in with some bronzer. So what is a bronzer? A bronzer is going to bring back some warmth to your skin. So the difference between contour and bronzer is contour is going to chisel you out. So it's going to bring back the shadows, chisel you out, give you a more sharper look, whereas a bronzer is going to just warm back your skin. So give you some natural warmth to the skin. Everyone has warmth to their skin. So that's essentially what your bronzer is going to do. So today I'm going to be using the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer. This is in the shade Butter Than You. And then for my bronzer, I like to go in with an angled brush like this one here. This one you can also use for your your contour, but this is just going to allow you to apply that bronzer in all of the areas that you contour. You can also go in with a more fluffier brush like this as well. Something like this is just going to lightly brush on that bronzer. Honestly, it's up to you. I think I do want to go in with this today. So we're going to dip into this bronzer, and might I warn you, this bronzer is super pigmented, so I always recommend going in with a little bit. As you can see, that really just did a lot just now, so definitely be careful with this bronzer. But all you want to do is just brush along all the areas that you applied your contour. This is just going to bring back some warmth to the skin. And then going back in with my small angled brush, we're just going to dip into that and just go over the nose contour as well. So essentially everywhere that we've applied any kind of cream or liquid product, we just want to go back over it with some powder. Taking my velour puff, you guys can see that my nose contour is way too harsh. Just going over that line that you just created really helps to just tone down how harsh your nose contour is. Just like that. All right, so I know a lot of us are into blushes now, especially cream blushes. I didn't include any cream blush in today's video just because I wanted to keep this very basic and beginner friendly. I wanted to just create a very natural, easy makeup look for beginners. So I'm going to show you guys powder blush. Powder blush is just very easy to apply. So today I am going to be using my Sephora collection colorful blush. This is in the shade Over the Top. And when it comes to blush, you definitely want to choose a shade that is going to complement your skin tone. For darker skin tones, I usually aim for more plums, reds, anything of the deeper tones. So those I feel work really good for deeper complexions. So I'm going to use this blush today, and for my brush I'm going to go in with my Marabella blush contour brush, and you want to use something that is more tapered. The brush is essentially supposed to hug the apples of your cheeks, so anything that's pointed or just hugs the contours of your cheeks is the type of brush you want to use for your blush. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into this, dust off the excess, and we're just going to apply some to the apples of the cheeks. And what I did is just kind of applied it to literally where that cheekbone is and just stippled it into my skin. So I applied it right above the bronzer and the contour. And this is just going to bring back some color, make you look alive. All right, guys, so now we can move to the more intricate parts of our face. So that's our eyes and our lips. So speaking of eyes, what I like to do for the eyes, just to keep it very simple and beginner friendly, is just go back into my bronzer and taking just a regular eyeshadow brush, something like this. We're just gonna dip into that bronzer and just apply some to our eyelids. This is just going to bring the eye look together and make it look like we did a little something to the eyes. So going back into my NYX bronzer, I'm gonna dip into that with my eyeshadow brush, and we're just gonna apply that bronzer to the crease of our eyes. And this is just gonna give me a very simple eyeshadow look. We're not doing the most with our eyes. So all we're doing is just applying that bronzer into the crease. All right, so just like that, we just added a bit of that bronzer to the eyelids. Now we could go in with a Kajal pencil. So I always recommend just a normal Kajal pencil. I do have my Essence Kajal pencil eyeliner in the shade Black. So we're gonna use this today to apply to the top lash line and the bottom lash line. And when it comes to a Kajal pencil, I just like to create really short strokes to just trace out the top lash line. And just a trick for your lash line, using your pinky and resting it on your face really helps to control the control that you have for the eye pencil. So if you want to just really control how you're applying your eyeliner, you don't do it like this. Place your pinky on your face, and this is just going to give you the control. All right, and then also you want to just apply in your waterline. So once you have your eyeliner on, you can now choose between applying eyelashes or your mascara. So whichever one you want to choose, you can definitely do. As you guys know, I do like applying my lashes, so I am going to be using my Ardell Demi Wispies. I just like how lashes really completes the look for me, so I'm going to quickly pop these on. I do have a detailed eyelash tutorial, so if you're interested in how to apply lashes, you can definitely check that out. I'll leave it on the cards above. All right, so just like that, we've applied the lashes, and you guys could see how that just brought the eye look together. Essentially, using your mascara will do the same thing. So I am going to use my mascara. This is the Maybelline Sky High mascara, and I'm just going to apply this to my bottom lashes. This is just going to complete the eye look. All right, so now we can move on to the lips. So with the lips, it's very versatile. You can do exactly what you want to do, whether it be a lip gloss, a lipstick, lip oil, whatever the case is, it is up to you. The look that I did is pretty basic. It's very natural, so you can use just about any type of lip product to complete your makeup look. For me, I love a nice brown lip liner and nude lipstick, so that's what we're gonna do today. I am gonna take my Palladio eyeliner pencil. So you guys have seen this. It's an eyeliner pencil, but I use it as a lip liner, and I'm going to use my Black Radiance Perfect Tone lip gloss. So I'm gonna take my lip liner and just line my lips. So I'm just going to go in with my Black Radiance Perfect Tone lip gloss. This is just a really nice nude gloss. And just like that, we have completed the look. So last thing, guys, is your setting spray. Now, a lot of people ask me, why do I use a setting spray? What is a setting spray used for? So a setting spray is going to set and lock your makeup in place. So if you know you're going to be wearing your makeup for a long period of time, you definitely want to use a setting spray. This is just going to make sure that your makeup lasts throughout the day. Nothing budges, everything stays put. So today I am going to be using the Milani Make It Last Original Natural Finish Setting Spray. All right, and that completes the makeup look, guys. So today was a very detailed makeup look at that. So video was lengthy, but that's okay because we went through everything that you would need to complete just a basic look like this. So this is considered a natural full face of makeup. We use all drugstore products, so very affordable products. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I do have a similar video to this one that you can check out. I'll leave it on the screen right here. And this is just another very easy beginner makeup tutorial that you can follow along and really learn how to do your makeup. So if you are free and still have some time, check out this video. And that is about it for today's video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.